My grandparents were incredible people. They believed in hard work. They also believed in education. They knew that a good education was the key to success, so they made sure that all their grandchildren had a nest egg for college. Mine was earmarked for an MBA. This wasn't just about the money for them, it was about opportunity. They wanted more for their family. I was determined to make them proud. My grandparents passed away when I was in high school. Their passing was devastating. But they left behind a legacy of love and support. This legacy lived on in the trust fund they created. I was so grateful for their foresight. I knew this money would be life-changing. It meant I could pursue my dreams without the burden of student loans. I pictured myself walking across the stage, MBA in hand. I knew my grandparents would be looking down with pride. Little did I know a storm was brewing. This storm would shake my family to its core. Years passed. I graduated with honors. I landed a great job. I was finally ready for my MBA. I was excited to take this next step. This felt like the culmination of years of hard work. I eagerly contacted the bank. I was ready to access the funds my grandparents had set aside. The bank manager asked me to come in person. This seemed strange, but I brushed it off. Surely it was just a formality. When I arrived, the mood was somber. The manager looked at me with pity. He spoke slowly, carefully choosing his words. He told me the account was empty. There was no mistake. My grandparents' careful planning had vanished. I felt like the air had been sucked out of the room. This couldn't be true. It had to be a mistake. I went numb with shock. The world seemed to tilt on its axis. I left the bank in a daze. The weight of the situation hit me. My carefully crafted future seemed to crumble before my eyes. The betrayal cut deep. How could this happen? Who would do this? Then it dawned on me. The evidence pointed to my parents. They were the only other people who knew about the account. My parents had always favored my younger sibling, Mark. Mark was the golden child, always showered with attention and gifts. I was relegated to the shadows. The confrontation with my parents was agonizing. They didn't deny it. They tried to justify their actions. They claimed it was for Mark's education. He needed it more. I was speechless. Their words were like daggers to my heart. Their betrayal ran deeper than I could have imagined. I felt lost and alone. I didn't know who to turn to. In a moment of desperation, I called my Uncle Jake. Uncle Jake was my dad's brother. He was a successful lawyer. More importantly, he was someone I trusted. He listened patiently as I poured out my story. Uncle Jake was furious. He promised to help me fight for what was rightfully mine. He knew my parents well. He had seen their favoritism firsthand. But this act was beyond the pale. He vowed to hold them accountable. His voice was steady and reassuring. For the first time since the revelation, I felt a glimmer of hope. He told me to focus on gathering any evidence I could find. This included bank statements, emails, anything that could support my claim. He assured me that he was in my corner. We would fight this together. Section 5. Building the case. The next few weeks were a blur of legal paperwork and phone calls. Uncle Jake was a man on a mission. He was relentless in his pursuit of justice. He uncovered a pattern of financial discrepancies. These discrepancies all pointed to my parents. We discovered that my parents had used my college fund for years. They used it to fund Mark's lavish lifestyle. They paid for his expensive vacations and designer clothes. The more we uncovered, the sicker I felt. The evidence was damning. Uncle Jake was confident we had a strong case. I was both terrified and strangely empowered. I was taking a stand against my own parents. This was a battle I was determined to win. Section 6. The legal battle begins. The day we filed the lawsuit, a strange sense of calm washed over me. There was no turning back. My parents were furious. They accused me of being greedy and ungrateful. They claimed I was trying to tear the family apart. The courtroom was cold and impersonal. The legal battle was grueling. My parents hired a slick lawyer. He tried to paint me as a disgruntled child. He tried to discredit my grandparents' wishes, but Uncle Jake was a force to be reckoned with. He presented our case with precision and passion. He exposed my parents' lies and deceit. He argued that their actions were not just unethical, but illegal. Throughout the trial, I clung to Uncle Jake's unwavering support. It was my lifeline in the storm. Section 7. Justice prevails. After weeks of testimony and legal wrangling, the judge finally ruled in my favor. The judge ordered my parents to repay the embezzled funds with interest. A wave of relief washed over me. Justice had prevailed. My parents were furious. They stormed out of the courtroom, spewing venom and threats, but their words couldn't touch me anymore. I had faced my fears. I had emerged stronger on the other side. Section 8. Picking up the pieces. The aftermath of the trial was bittersweet. My relationship with my parents was shattered, perhaps beyond repair. There was a sense of loss, but there was also a sense of freedom. I had stood up for myself. I had reclaimed what was rightfully mine. With Uncle Jake's help, I navigated the process of recovering the stolen funds. It wasn't just about the money. It was about righting a wrong. It was about honoring my grandparents' legacy. Section 9. A newfound freedom. Life after the trial was a process of healing and rebuilding. I enrolled in my MBA program. I finally pursued the dreams I had put on hold. I threw myself into my studies. I excelled in my classes. This time, when I walked across the stage to receive my diploma, I did so with a newfound sense of pride and independence. This victory was hard-won. It tasted even sweeter because I had overcome so much to get there. My grandparents' legacy lived on, not just in the education I received, but in the resilience I had discovered within myself.